Welcome home. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. I cleaned up my office, and I can't find my lottery tickets, but I will find them when we get the Maryland Crab Cake Tour back out on the road. We are headed to Coco's. We're headed to Costas. I've got dates in April for that. We're also going to be at Fadley's every Friday from 2 until 5. 2 to 5 live. Luke's going to be stopping down, and that's going to be on the Fridays when there's home games before Oriole games. Just a long fly ball from Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And I'm wearing my Pappas shirt here. I got some Greek love going on here. Been a little while since I've had this guy on. I think the last time I had him on, Justin Matabike, wasn't even tagged yet. It all happened real fast last week. It's going to happen fast and furious this week for free agency. So we have to be careful what we talk about because, by the time people hear this, tampering may have already tampered. This guy's been tampering with selling cars for a long, long time out of Coons Baltimore Ford. You find him out on the front of Baltimore Positive and have found him here for a long, long time. It is the off season to some. It is draft season to Dennis Koulatsos. What's going on, D. Koulatsos show? How you been?
And I've been fine and visiting Pappas' in Glen Burnie at least once a week, getting my grilled octopus there and my crab cake. Love that place. Great service and
I've never had a grilled octopus in my life. Is that any
Oh
good?
man, you gotta go get
I'm
some.
deep fried. I'm all about the
No.
calamari.
If you love the calamari, you would love the grilled octopus at Pappas'. I'm telling you, second to none. They give you a little side order of Greek salad with the feta cheese and everything else, and it is just outstanding. Chef's kiss all the way, Nestor. But
So
I've been well, thank you.
the last day of the Cup of Super Bowl tour, I'm standing in Pappas, worn out. I've been crying all day. I have a woman who lost her son, and they're doing this beautiful thing for Andrew's Laughing Gas. And just, it was like one of those days. And I had great shows all week. I was so happy it was over. And my wife texts me and says, bring something home. I wasn't bringing a crab cake. No offense to any of my crab cake places. It was the end of the week. I wasn't bringing crab soup home. I did that every day. So I said, I'm going to get the chicken franchise. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Oh, my God. We brought that home. It was like the greatest thing. We can't wait to go back and get it again. So there's a free plug for Pappas.
There you go.
How are you? What's going on? What is on your mind? Because new ownership of the Orioles is something I don't think we ever thought we would talk about, right? This offseason of the Ravens where, as Billick would say, they just brought a U-Haul to John's office back there and pulled all the coaches out. Now that this week they're going to pull a bunch of players out, right? Matabike gets a franchise tag in that weird couple hours, and then they go and give him the money, and they had salary cap problems. This is, it's an offseason where everybody's hunting them. And it's a fascinating thing to see how they're going to manage this.
It is. That's why Eric DaCosta gets paid all the money these days. He's got, I think, 27 pending free agents last time I checked. So we're going to get poached. The Ravens get poached real hard every year. And fan base goes wild. We go crazy. And then things get straight right before the season begins. So with the Ravens, it's always a process. And I do like the fact that DaCosta says he doesn't believe in windows opening or closing. He believes in being competitive every year. And of course, they're looking to catch lightning in the bottle, such as in the 2000 and the 2012 season when they won it all, Nestor. And as long as they have Lamar Jackson, now they got the spine of the defense is locked up from Matabike to Roquan Smith to Kyle Hamilton. So the spine right up the middle where you want to be strong, Nestor. And that's why it was so critical for them to re-sign Justin Matabike, which actually allowed them to reduce the cap to at least a break-even point before they have to make some moves, whether it's Ronnie Stanley restructuring or Marlon Humphrey or both.
We spend a lot of time here, especially this time of the year, in football. And, you have been doing this a long time with me through drafts and saying, who are they going to draft? Who do they love? Who are they falling in love with? And I always, with Ozzy, I always say, just open your eyes on draft night and it'll, what they do will dictate exactly how they feel and how they felt about players, if they can move up, move down, move around. But you can't buy everything, right? You can't. It's like going down the beach. That's a nice house. You get one of them is what you get, right? And in the case of Matabike, when they step up to the tune of marrying a player, and we talked about this with Lamar last year, no one wanted to marry Lamar Jackson last year. No one else wanted to give him money, give up Anthony Richardson or a couple draft picks to get the MVP of the league, right, as we sit here a year later and talk about this. But the Matabike thing, when they tagged him, I knew they didn't want to get rid of him.
Mhm.
But much like with Matt Judon or other players, maybe you just want to date him and see if, like, is he going to be that good forever? And to give him the money and to find the salary cap space that they really needed, it's smart football all the way around. But I don't know that they know that Justin Madubuike is going to be a $20 million football player.
Well, it's a 4-year deal. It's not a 5-year deal. I think it benefits both the team and the player. He's still very young. I believe he's only 26 years old. So I get a chance to play for yet another big contract. So I think it's win-win all the way around. And Madubuike, at least for last season, he was a mini Aaron Donald. He was disruptive. And anytime, Nestor, you can get pressure up the middle and disrupt the quarterback, he can't step up in the pocket. It's very big for the defense. They lost Mike McDonald. You mentioned they've lost a ton of coaches. So this defense is going to be in a state of flux, but it was nice to see Madubuike resigned. I think it's also great for team morale that the message is we draft you, and if you play well, you position yourself for that big contract. And now
Unless you're Patrick Queen and you get it somewhere else this week, right?
well, we'll have to see what Patrick Queen's market value is because I do think there's a slight chance, now never slight chance, that they actually re-sign him as well. And wouldn't that be something?
Well, and this is for the salary cap going to 255 and how other teams value winning players, right? And individual players. No one valued Lamar more than the Ravens this time last year. And the Jets valued CJ Mosley more than the Ravens. And the Buccaneers valued Ryan Jensen at $55 million more than the Ravens did at that time for his center. Linderbaum's going to be coming up. Kyle Hamilton's going to be coming up. I know it's around the corner, it's down the road, but they're going to have elite players that they're also going to say we can't live without him. The admission that they can't live without Madubuike, that's quite an admission for them from where he was 2 years ago to where he became a nice player 2 years ago to where this past year he became an elite player, or as Luke said, a unicorn, because you don't get pressure up the middle, right? You can't go buy that player anywhere else, like you couldn't buy Lamar Jackson anywhere else. You might be able to buy Patrick Queen in some way, or you may think we can draft a guy that we can do that. Why invest there? And that's the case for running backs. That's the case for safeties. That's the case for outside linebackers, right? Like there's a feeling in the league. We'll put that money into a left tackle. We'll put that money into a rush edge. We're going to put that money into the quarterback. We're going to put that into playmakers.
Well, they have a great vibe right now. The team does. Of course, they had the devastating home loss to the Chiefs, but that aside, the vibe with the team is very, very good. You've got the two-time league MVP coming back, a quarterback. They just re-signed Madubuike, so everything is trending well for this team. They're the hunted now. Of course, we have Russell Wilson signing with the Steelers for the league veteran minimum of 1.2 million, although he collects 38 million from the Denver Broncos. So your friend Mike
Is it a
Tomlin,
good deal for the Steelers or is it not? Is he the
for
quarterback that's going to lead them to 11 victories in the AFC North? I don't know.
well, they had 10 last year, so they get one more. As long as the Ravens get 12 and win the division, who cares? But Mike Tomlin will have a Super Bowl winning quarterback under center, which doesn't say a whole lot for what they think of Kenny Pickett. But it's a fascinating division just to see what's going to happen going forward with the Browns, of course, and Deshaun Watson. Does he or doesn't he this year? They just got Jerry Jeudy for the Broncos for a song. Very competitive, very tight division, and I love the AFC North for that reason. You never know what's going to happen. These teams get after each other, they make each other better. But I think for the Ravens, they are who they are. They stay true to themselves, and they'll draft the best player available. Hopefully, it's a position of need. They need a left tackle, at least as a backup to Ronnie Stanley, as he's often injured. If they don't move away from him, which I don't think they will, they need a cornerback. They need a running back at some point, and I'm of the opinion they're better off drafting one than investing money in Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs or Saquon Barkley.
Well, only so much money to go around, and they invested that in Madubuike, and now the offensive line, whether it's Morgan Moses or whether it's Stanley, I mean, how many fresh faces do you want there coming back from a 13-4 team? And really, at this point, we have no idea who's going to run the football. It's going to be somebody else. It's going to be somebody different running the football. And then the Odell Beckham thing. So he's not coming back. Clowney, Van Noy, big pieces on the defense, right? That may not be a part of this. It's a transition year. I mean, I've said it many times. They're going to be a diminished team on opening day in perception. In perception, I don't think there's any, but they have a quarterback and they can win. There's no doubt about that. But from where they were as a roster in January, it's not going to look like that in September.
It's not. And Eric DeCosta said as much. It was nothing earth-shattering. We all knew, of course, that they have to invest assets in that offensive line. Let's not forget about Andrew Voorhees, the USC offensive lineman last year, who tore his ACL during the combine and still went and bench pressed 2.25, 38 times. I do expect this young man to be in the running for starting guard position, either the one vacated by Kevin Zeitler or by Simpson on the other side. But it'll be a rebuilt offensive line, but they realize they have to keep Lamar Jackson upright. They've got to keep him clean and healthy as much as possible, plus open up holes for the running backs.
You believe the offseason lies of Rashad Bateman, and we love him. We love him. I mean, Eric lies a lot this time. He loved all the wide receivers till he went and drafted a couple more. I mean, yeah, I mean, one of the things about Harbaugh and DeCosta is when I see them come out to the podium and they tap the mic and they start randomly ass-kissing somebody, it's all got purpose and it's all rooted. And I believe a lot of this with Lamar, which is he really needs that attaboy. You know what I mean? Like they're very sensitive billionaires, these are guys making a lot of money and high level and all that, but they need their backs rubbed in a big way, be above and beyond whatever their salaries are. The Bateman thing, I don't know. I mean, you say, do we have wide receiver figured out? I don't know who the room is. I know they took Aguilar back and thought that's good, and they're going to begin the room without an OBJ, right? And hopefully a rejuvenated Andrews, I guess, when you're thinking like he's a wide receiver kind of sort of, but there's also that part of who are you going to throw the ball to?
Well, Devin Duvernay, he's also a free agent, right? And not only do we have Rashard Bateman coming up on his 5th-year option, we also have Odafe Owe. So there's a couple of players there that at this point, to me, it's a coin flip. I know which way that I would go.
We've heard a lot more about them in April than we ever did from September through December. Both of those guys.
Unfortunately, right? And I think it tells you all you need to know from an objective standpoint. But yeah, could they use another wide receiver? Yes. That's the question. The answer is where, though? Where are you going to pick them at? First round, second round, third round? But they need to add at least one more piece. They have Zay Flowers, but they need that big guy. And I don't know if Isaiah Likely's fast enough to be moved to the outside, all 6'4" of him. That way, at least you get him and Mark Andrews on the field at the same time. You still have Charlie Kohler lurking. So I think tight end is a very good position, a position of strength for this team, Nestor. But are they done at wide receiver? I don't believe so. And there's veterans out there. They like to kick the tires on veterans. Michael Thomas's name has been kicked around. They like to bring in that old, wily, crafty veteran who's perhaps lost a step but can bring a presence into the locker room.
They already have that in Aguilar, don't they?
Well, but I don't think he's lost a step. I think Nelson's still playing very well. I mean, he's played better than I thought he would, and he's a good part of that offense. He fits.
Well, that's why they signed him, to have the veteran guy. I mean, I always try to be flippant to him. I mean, it is what it is. And I always say in this offense, how much do you want to pass the ball? Apparently in the championship game, a whole lot more than you want to run it. Dennis Koulatsos is here. It is March, and we're here for the April draft. We're getting ready for all of that. Luke is going to be getting you ready for that. I had Eric at home on this week from NFL.com, so I have not lost my fastball for trying to keep count of all this. But when you draft 30th, it does sort of lead you to even on draft night, wake me up at 10:30. There's going to be a lot that happens. They're not getting anybody's blue chip this or that at 30. Yeah. They're going to get a player you hope they like, and they're not in any position to be dealing up into 18 from some falling guy that falls out of the top 10 in their mind, because I don't think they want to give up a 1 next year.
Yeah, unless a top 15, top 17 player falls to 30, Nestor, which is highly unlikely. This screams that they're going to trade back. If they can get somebody to give them a high second and perhaps a third and pick up an extra player, an extra body, because once you get past 15, 16, 17, your blue chippers are gone. All of a sudden, then you have volume versus quality, and I do think that EDC's praying at this point, and will be praying on draft day for for his phone to ring and somebody to offer him additional picks for the 30th pick in the first round. I don't know. I'd be surprised if they don't trade out that spot.
Well, you look at guys, you say there's 5 or 6 guys, maybe at 30, if somebody falls, you'd be okay with taking that player. And then there's somebody you say, well, we got a guy we think we can get with the 90th pick
Right.
that we think can play left tackle because they feel that. Whatever that is, we feel like this is going to be. I mean, they felt that way with Orlando Brown, who, as you know, he tweeted out during the combine that he's slow, and that whatever that means, he's slow, but he's made a lot of money,
He
and he
has.
told them he was a left tackle. They told him he wasn't. 2 teams had paid him to be a left tackle. So there's always that going on, but that's a great example of what they're looking for. Kind of like they need to find that guy.
Yeah, they need to find a guy that runs perhaps that ran the 40 not as fast as they thought, just like they got Terrell Suggs, who dropped to them. Of course, he was a top 10 pick, but you're right. At 30, they're in a position to move back, and if they also have to be in position, as always, of course, to turn in their dance card if nobody gives them a value for that 30th pick. But it'll be a fascinating day. A lot of trades, I'm sure, will happen up and down the draft board. Lots of quarterbacks will go in that first round, so. They always mess up everybody's draft boards as deals are made.
Dennis Koulatsos is here. He'll be there over Coons Baltimore for Security Boulevard. You can find him over there if you're in the market for a car, used, love, service. Stop by, say hello, and see if he's got his Earl Campbell thing on the wall or not. Come in. Baseball wise, anything for
Yeah.
you? It's early. They're not on TV. You're a little bit removed. Like you're not like a baseball gotta have it guy, but you're a baseball guy that 3 weeks from now when they're 4-1 and the weather's nice. Like
Yeah, I'm excited. Gotta be excited.
I think Dennis, we're all. I'm bought in on this.
Me too. Jackson Holiday coming up to the bigs. How can you not? And every time I check the ESPN box score, there they are winning again. I know it doesn't count, but all the things are trending. All the indicators are well. This is going to be a very, very good team, and gotta love the sale of the team also, right? New ownership, and they have a chance now to keep the rising young stars. It's not a given that they're not going to spend the money. They're off to a very good start with the new ownership, so I'm very, very much encouraged.
Listen, if you and Mr. Coons want to take me down to the club level on opening day, I will gladly. I will sit in. Are you going opening day or are you not? Are you?
Uh,
Are you?
I have a fishing trip planned that was
Oh, come
canceled.
on with the fishing
Look,
trip.
it's on the Susquehanna with the local fishing guide for smallmouth bass. It's what I last year the water was too low, so we rescheduled it for March 28th, and I was invited by my controller. She has opening day tickets. She said, "Hey, love to have you," and can't
You got a
can't do it.
friend? Tell her I'll dress like that. I can be Dennis on
I will
opening
tell her.
day.
I will let her know. I will let her know today.
I won't tell
Absolutely.
her I won't be the guy eating all the bean dip or anything. I don't eat much. I just take up space. I talk a lot.
I will let her know. But she actually bought a. She usually buys a 13 game pack. She actually bought a 29 game pack this year, which
See, I told you
which I thought was encouraging. See,
people are stepping up in a different way.
they
I mean,
are.
there's new ownership. You see the sunshine over my shoulder,
I
right?
do. I do.
Right?
I
It's
was
like the
surprised.
John Denver song.
I looked at.
Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy.
I looked at it was a 9 game or 13 game pack behind home plate. I think it was like $8,000. I mean, it's not cheap.
Don't blame David Rubenstein. He doesn't own the team yet. I'm sure he'll fix that.
I said I looked at it. I didn't say I bought it. Look, I'm still an Essex guy. I'm looking for a deal.
So I want to talk fishing with you for just 1 minute before we go, because my wife and I, we did Super Bowl Sunday at Hollywood Casino.
Mhm.
So we went up at about 3 in the afternoon, went early to go to the game up there. And I mean, we had a great time, great food, had this salmon, it was delicious. Um, we took the Harford Road Conowingo up because my wife's
Okay.
always looking for eagles. I told you, Eagles right over here, Cromwell Bridge,
Sure.
over behind McFall's Ironside Tavern up north. They were feeding there last January, a dozen of them, juveniles,
Really?
the whole. Oh my God, it was. We went every day for 3 weeks to watch them. We watched them every day. And then they disappeared in like February. They were there in January, gone in February last year. This year we went. I saw one once Christmas time, right before
Huh.
January. I saw one right in front of McFall's Iron Horse Tavern, right? So on the way up to Hollywood, I've had friends who are photographers, my buddy Doug Meekins and some others. They go up and they stalk the Eagles at Conowingo, not at 95 or at 40, but up Route 1, right? And there's the dams there and the big hydro electro pump thing, whatever's there. And there's a park underneath it there. My father, my Venezuelan father, Nestor Sr., took me there when I was a little boy, probably 1972, 73. But I've never been out of the car up there. It's a beautiful park. You can park down below if you're a photographer. You see eagles. We saw 5 eagles nesting in the trees above on Super Bowl Sunday. So, like, you mentioned you're doing the boat thing on the Conowingo, and I'm like, do you see eagles when you're out there?
All the time. And the best ones are the juvenile eagles. They don't have a white head, and they're bigger because when they come out of the nest, that's the biggest they'll ever be. And as they get older, they get smaller. They actually start shrinking. So when you see an eagle that doesn't have the white head, that is a juvenile, fresh out of the nest, and he or she's hunting right away. They're magnificent animals, and that's part of the benefits of being outdoor fishing, Nestor. We just bought a 17-foot reservoir rig, electric motor. So Liberty, Pretty Boy, and a Loch Raven reservoirs. We always see eagles out there. Magnificent, beautiful animals. So
See that?
we fight them
I can't
for the
be
fish.
mad at you for going to opening day. You could see Orioles.
We see Orioles too. They usually running and hiding from the eagles, but
It's going to be Angels in the outfield.
but I've seen many times eagles dive and pick up a fish. There was a hawk that picked up a fish at the eagle's area, and the eagle attacked him. The hawk dropped the fish, and the eagle went back and retrieved the fish from the water, took it back to his nest. So you see all kind of great interaction between animals out there when you're fishing. It's just magnificent, really is wonderful.
All right. Well, enjoy your time on the water, and
Appreciate
I hope
that.
that you and I get together under new ownership, under
Yeah,
new management for a hot dog. I mean, we got to get together for a hot dog at Camden Yards. That's legitimate. I'm going to be down at the Nest down at the convention center. We're doing this thing at Fadley's 2 to 5 on Fridays. Come down and get a crab cake. Get some mac and
nice.
cheese with me. Come on.
Absolutely. Sounds
All
like a
right.
plan. You got it, sir.
I've waited my whole life for this. Let
Phil
me at least
Collins.
think that these people are going to be nicer people and let
Look,
me in for a minute. I want to believe that Luke and I are going to have a hot dog together in the press box. I really want to believe that, Dennis.
let's channel Phil Collins here. I know you love music. I've been waiting all my life. Oh Lord, oh Lord. Yes, we
Yeah,
have.
right.
Yes, we
Boom,
have.
boom, boom,
Bum,
boom,
bum,
boom,
bum, bum,
boom,
bum.
boom, boom, boom. I can feel it
You
coming
can
in the
feel it,
air on
baby.
the 28th of March.
March.
You'll be fishing. I'll be at
I'll
the
be,
ballpark, and you'll
unless the
see.
water's too low. If the water's too low again, guess what? I'll take a rain check for next year. I might be at the ballpark. You never know.
I have an orange jersey that says Aparicio on the back. It's laundered. It's ready to go. It's ready for new ownership is what it's ready for. I've been ready for new ownership a long time. I am doing a documentary. Blue Rock Productions approached me about telling our story for 25 years. The 25th anniversary is a good excuse to put it together. I promise it won't be 25 minutes long. It's not like anything full service. It's just more like telling the story with all the pictures. A lot of people ask me, like, you know, Dennis, I bet your girlfriend doesn't know that I ran through the streets in my underwear in 1996. I bet
No,
she
she knows the
doesn't know.
story. She knows the story.
Oh, well, I put it up on the internet. So, but I'm going to weave it all together and tell the whole story of how little WNST is still doing it better than ever because of people like Dennis Koulatsos and other folks. So that'll be happening a little later on in the month. Luke and I are going to spring training. We're still breaking news on the WNST tech service, and Luke's doing all of that. So it's a big, big month around here. Dennis, I'll see you out on the Loch Raven one day. And what do
Yes,
you
you
catch
will.
on Loch Raven? What kind of fish out there?
Bass, largemouth, smallmouth bass. That's
And
what's up there.
I can put that on a grill, no problem.
No, we don't eat bass. We throw them back. Just
Throw them
for
back.
sport. Just for sport
Catch and
fishing.
release.
Catch and release. Enjoy the turtles, the eagles, the blue herons that we see out there. All the wildlife. It's just amazing.
And then we'll go to
Beavers,
Pappas and get chicken afterward.
chicken and
Good
grilled
idea.
octopus, grilled octopus, and
All
that
right.
chicken frances, however you say it.
Yeah, you get that. You never going back
Look,
to that
you got
octopus.
Dundalk and Essex here. You'll never get any more than this.
It was always catfish on our side of town, as I remembered.
Yes, it was.
He is Dennis Koulatsos. I
Podcast.
am Nestor. We are WNST. AM 1570 Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking. Baltimore, positive.